Hey there, it's Malcolm Saunders here. We have another interview. I just had a conversation with Jenn Silver, founder of Wild&Raw. Yeah, it's a great conversation. We covered a lot, expanding this idea of what is nourishment. We talked about, what is it to like to be a business owner, follow your heart, that creativity. She offers some advice there. Also brings in some advice about ritual and how that can help bring one nourishment, especially in this day and age where we're so busy, we're pulled here and there. And we get to a little bit of insight into what are some of Jen's top favorite herbs. She talks about cacao ceremonies, and I think you'll enjoy this one. It's short and sweet, and give it a listen, and I know you're going to enjoy it. All right, welcome. With me, I have on the line today Jenn Silver of Wild&Raw Superfood and Juice Bar down in Kensington in Calgary. Welcome.
Thanks, Malcolm. Thanks for having me on the show.
Right on. We can see you're actually in Wild&Raw right now. You can kind of see some products behind you, hear a little bit of a buzz of the store going on. So awesome. Cool. And this has been about a 2-year journey for you, hey, that since you opened up Wild&Raw?
Yep. So our location now is the second kind of reincarnation of Wild&Raw. I actually started it back in 2012. Super small scale, just running it with a friend of mine out of Samadhi Yoga. And we were open for about 6 months and just kind of tested the market. Juicing and things was a little bit not quite as prominent at the time. So that was back then. And now we've been open in Kensington with our bricks and mortar location for just over 2 years. And yeah, it's great.
Cool, right on. I mean, I know it's becoming a mainstay in Calgary. People are seeking it out and getting the good juices, the good superfoods, the good smoothies, the good vibes and elixirs from you. Obviously, this is who you are now, but I'm curious. You've arrived at this place. You've created this amazing spot within the local community and culture, and to even dream up a superfood bar, doing elixirs and coming up with all these recipes. It takes a long time. It takes a journey to get there. What's your journey with food and nutrition been like?
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely is a journey. It didn't happen overnight. Yeah, it's exciting to look back on everything that I've kind of experienced and integrated into Wild&Raw and what it is today. It's probably been about an 8 to 10 year journey for me. Like many people getting into the health and nutrition world, I kind of hit a brick wall with my health and was feeling kind of sick and a little bit disconnected from my body and food and nutrition. And so I hit that wall and took an alternate path that led me down to where I am today. So yeah, I guess back in 2009, my gateway point was yoga and raw chocolate. I guess you could add that in there too. So yoga really just helping to open myself to listening to my body and being reconnected to breath and food and body awareness. And then from there, I started experimenting with raw foods and juicing and tried the master cleanse a couple of times and just diving in from there. I've done a lot of traveling as well in the past couple of years throughout Asia and seen some of the raw foods and lifestyles that people are taking in Bali and Thailand and some of these hot spots for the healing lifestyle. So yeah, today it's just kind of an amalgamation of everything that I've learned and been inspired by and have tried and tested and incorporated into what I want to see in the world. So that's kind of where Wild&Raw is at right now.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, two things that stand out from what you're saying that I can relate to is, and many people listening and watching too, I'm sure, is oftentimes, when we get into food, health, nutrition, it's often because, we know things could be better. Things are maybe not going so well, or, like you mentioned it, you hit a brick wall, and that's that message, that sign from the body, like, okay, time to change, time to move forward in a different way. And I think a lot of us in our culture, our society, we inherited a food system that was less than the best ever. And good for you for hearing that call and making those changes, and also creating a space where other people can access, they're learning from your journey and where you're at now. And so awesome on that one. And the other point that really kind of stuck out for me, which related as well, is I was born and raised in Calgary. I'm not sure if you were as well.
I
Yeah,
was.
and a very similar pattern. I mean, having been born and raised in Calgary, like I was leaving as soon as I could. Right, it's like right out of high school. It's like I'm out of here, and I know there was a lot of us that felt, like Calgary. I mean, it's known for the Stampede. It's an oil town. It's cowboy town is kind of these general characteristics, stereotypes that it has, and for good reason. And for me, it was like, oh, I got to get out of here. And I think a big part of our own individual journeys and paths are, is exploring, is to wander, to get out of, the home territory and to go explore. And especially as it relates to what you said in terms of not only the learning, but really even from a business perspective, right? Just like seeing what else is out there, what's happening in other communities, and then coming back to Calgary to then create it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I definitely went through the same thing. I've tried to get out of Calgary like 7 times, and I always end up back here. And I just, the last time I came back, I decided really to plant my roots in Calgary. And this place is a little bit challenging in its shift in its lifestyle, but and the weather, of course. But I think that Calgary has a great vibe. It has a great energy. There's a lot of it's a lot of like oil and gas and business, but it's also a big entrepreneurial city, and I really firmly believe that it's a great place to plant a seed and watch things flourish in Calgary. So
Yeah.
look, a part of that community.
Yeah, no, great, good for you. And anyone listening and watching, I think whether you're in Calgary or another town, it's so easy to get caught up in that the grass is always greener. But going and leaving and learning and getting inspiration from other places is awesome, and it seems really needed and necessary. But I love it. You and I are on the same path of like, okay, well, I'm back here again. What can I create? And really creating something for the community. And the big kind of conversation in Alberta is like, okay, how can we create a new economy and move beyond oil and gas? And it's going to come back to entrepreneurs, right? To come back to small business, and it's happening. So thanks for being a part of that and creating that community. And anyone watching, like if you got ideas, you got inspiration, look to Jenn. I mean, look at what she's done, and this is a great thing. So we can all enrich our own communities and our lives by just making that step forward. So maybe on that note, I know we're going to talk lots about food and nutrition, but just since we're on that note, I mean, do you have any like kind of big advice for anyone that maybe has an inkling of a dream or is just on that precipice that wants to engage in living the life of their dreams, and maybe it is opening a business?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm going to be writing a couple articles kind of around this theme for Your Mindful Collective, which is an amazing collaborative effort, kind of like a lot of things going on in Calgary. But a couple of tips that I would have would be to start before you really feel like you're ready. Because if you don't start that momentum, then the fear will talk you out of it, and you'll end up just kind of analyzing all your decisions and choices, and you'll never end up taking the step. So for me, I've always like signed myself up for a talk or a workshop or a yoga class that I'm teaching or a collaboration or something where I'm a little bit nervous, not quite ready, and then set the bar a little bit higher and then just chase it. So yes, I think that definitely helps for getting over the fear. And and I think in Calgary too, and with anywhere and going forward in our collective consciousness, I think that collaboration is really the next level for business and working together as a collective rather than competition. It's not, money isn't the why, money isn't, the whole purpose, it's the passion, it's working with others, it's helping each other. And, we're all in this to serve each other, not just ourselves and our direct clientele, so yeah.
No, I love that approach, and I think you and I are on that same wavelength. Even having very similar businesses, you and I, we embrace that idea of it's cooperation, not competition. That is the new paradigm. That is the new economy. And what makes us different is you and it's me and our individual expressions. And we're going to attract different people. We're going to speak to different people. And we might even have a lot of the same clients and customers like we do, and they're going to enjoy and appreciate the uniqueness of each business and what it offers for what it is, because it's coming from its own unique space. And I think again that also is the new economy, right? Is that individual expression, and so it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Cool. And this conversation here, I mean, the theme is recreate your relationship to food, that whole journey with food. But a big part of like, okay, what is food? We can expand that definition of nourishment. And I think you've heard the call, and just like you hit that wall physically, many of us, like, we've hit that wall like spiritually, mentally, like in jobs that we didn't like, and having this sense of like, wow, like the world could be better, what can I do? And there is a real nourishment that comes with truly living who you are, living your passion, and creating something in the world. So this is a totally relevant conversation, and I hope those learning or listening will be inspired, and reach out to myself or Jen anytime to learn more or get more inspiration. And because it's all about that collaboration, and so good.
Yeah.
Well, bringing it back to food, let's chat about what are kind of some of, let's say, top recommendations for getting into the world of superfoods, getting into the world of juicing, elixirs, that kind of thing. How would you suggest someone goes about that?
Oh man, so many entry points and gateway points for sure. And oh man, well, you mentioned a little bit back. I wanted to comment on like we at Wild&Raw, like we really like to meet people where they're at. Like yes, Wild&Raw is a reflection of where I'm at in my journey and the people that I work with where they're at in their journey. But also, we like to meet people who are just coming into this, who have just heard about juicing, or who are just switching off of soda, or who are just upgrading their coffee, and just kind of meeting people where they're at. So tips I would have would just be to keep an open mind, be creative, listen to your body, and take care of yourself, and start by nourishing yourself and listening to what you really need. If you're hungry, are you actually hungry, or you just need to take some rest? Are you thirsty, and yeah, I guess some of my top favorite superfoods, well, cacao obviously is the number one favorite for me.
Yeah.
Cacao being raw chocolate, which I know you know all about and have probably talked about on your show before. But um, yeah, I don't know. For me, it's just about playing. So
Yeah.
yeah, the light cellar has been a great playground for me for many years, for sure. I always come down and I know I have to like give myself a budget of like, okay, Jen, $50 today, like go pick something out and go play with it. But yeah, you can always pick up a herb and maybe it sits on your shelf for a couple of months, and then later on down the road you're like, oh, like that's why I purchased holy basil, because I really need to try this right now and feel into it. And yeah, it's an intuitive craft, I think.
Yeah, for sure. No, I definitely agree with you that exploring the realm of new foods and herbs and everything is very intuitive, and that's where I think the whole future of nutrition is going. I want to touch back in on chocolate. It reminded me, yeah, we both have a definite love for chocolate, as I'm sure many people listening do as well. One thing that's unique is you guide cacao ceremonies. Can you describe that?
Yeah.
What's that all about? What do you do at a cacao ceremony?
Yeah, I'll tell you all about that. So I just started doing them. I've done about eight. I've facilitated about eight cacao ceremonies.
Nice.
Um, yeah, so I did my very first cacao ceremony when I was in Bali. It was a beautiful ceremony. It was very heart opening. It was all about coming into love, coming into self expression, coming into taking care of yourself and connecting with others. And I was super moved by it. And it just really stuck with me as I've continued down this path. And yeah, I've been in along the lines of collaboration. I've been working with some other collaborators and facilitators in Calgary for with Trevor Yelich for breath work, and the guys from Flow Life. We've been doing some like light work, and one of my staff, Quinn Tessa, who's going to be teaching at Envision with her Shakti circles. She's been helping out too with women's circles and things like that. So I've just been collaborating for cacao ceremonies. But since then, I have gone and done my actual facilitator initiation for cacao. Not like I got a certificate for it, but it was definitely an experience.
Yeah.
And yeah, and just using cacao as a subtle plant medicine, and it is a very subtle plant medicine into the world of healing with plants, and plants that open your mind to other perceptions. So yeah, again, like my cacao ceremonies are kind of an amalgamation of meditation, yoga teacher training that I've done, and just kind of where I'm inspired at in my life. But I also work with, we do yoga nidra, and we set intentions, we do sharing, we'll do mantras, all based around cacao and heart medicine. And yeah, hopefully that made sense.
Oh yeah, I know. It sounds awesome, and sounds like your own like creative hybrid of, again, that self-expression. And yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot of different modalities and facilitations that are kind of rising to the surface to really help people break out of their own shell. And yeah, and I love that idea of adding the cacao in, because I mean it is such a powerful food that not only provides nourishment, but really has the power to help us break out of like mental, emotional kind of, boxes or molds that we might be stuck in, and really, yeah, it's a powerful food that way. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, it'll hit you where you're at. So if you're in ceremony, some people will be feeling and experiencing visceral physical experiences and heart opening, and some people will be experiencing the emotional release. And yeah, just you hit it there on the head for sure. It's all encompassing with the emotional, physical, mental, and the work.
Yeah, cool. All right, let's kind of dive in a different angle here. So,
Sure.
are there any kind of like key books or authors in particular that you've read within the realm of foods or herbs or nutrition that have been really influential that come to mind?
Yeah, there's a couple for sure. David Wolf's Naked Chocolate is one of my favorite books.
Right.
Because you can kind of like taste the essence of it. So I love that book. I also really love The Yoga of Herbs, which is a great book. I think Denis from The Light Sellers gifted it to me twice, so a really good book. Yeah, definitely a lot of different herbology books. I can't think of too many titles. And then another solid like go-to Bible for me is The Wheel of Life. It's all about the chakras, and it kind of integrates in like yoga, breath work, practice, mantra, chakra, energy work, foods for each energy center. And that's just kind of been that's been an inspiring one for me for sure.
Nice. Right on. Cool. And what's a good like morning routine for you, and what herbs or foods or anything, what's involved for Jenn?
Yeah, I'm so glad that you asked that. I'm really, really inspired right now by ritual and creating ceremony and creating like a ritual for self-care and self-devotion. And yeah, for me, it's like I get up, I'll do some Ayurvedic practice. So I'll do some dry skin brushing with essential oil. I'll smudge. I always smudge first thing in the morning. My daughter helps me and smudges herself too, which is really cute. I'll like pull a card or a crystal for the day, light a candle just to kind of anchor myself into the day. And then I'll move into the food section. So kind of just like start slowly. I always chug like at least half a liter of water with some MSM or lemon or greens or whatever I'm feeling. I'll make a bulletproof coffee, which usually gets me through the next couple hours of taking care of my little one in business and life. And then it's green smoothie and then into whatever.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So you mentioned the importance of ritual, and I think I'd agree. I think that a big part of that's kind of lost in our culture and our society. What do you see as the power and the benefit in bringing that back into one's life?
Absolutely. Well, I just think we're at such an amazing time where like we kind of have this paradox where as humans we're like a little bit dissatisfied, we're a little bit disconnected from our culture and from creating ceremony, but we're also at this point where we have access to so many lineages of culture and practice and ceremony where we can literally pull it up at our fingertips. So what was the question again?
Yeah, no, just like the power and the benefit of doing that and bringing it back in. And I mean, I love what you're saying there too, that we do have access to that. And that's often how I view foods and herbs as well, as like in spices, like we have access to, everything from all around the world. And it's a wonderful ability to be able to just kind of pull that in, consciously, like, okay, I'm going to integrate this and integrate that. So yeah, just the power and the benefit of kind of reestablishing ritual. And
Absolutely. Well, and we're just like, we're living in a time where we're so stressed out and we're servicing people and we spend all of our time expending our energy. And so bringing everything back into center and taking care of self first is really powerful. You can't be expected to take care of your kids, your job, the city, the world, your community, whatever, if you haven't tended to your own self, to your own garden. So by using the power of herbs and superfoods and, clean eating and ritual and ceremony, daily practice, it really helps to elevate that vibration and to keep you present for sure. I mean, it's kind of a chaotic world right now, so
yeah.
It's good to be present.
For sure. So again, that other form of nourishment, right? We often think of food as what nourishes us, but the practice of self-care, like you say, of ritual, because yeah, there's so many demands and there's so much like pull of where our attention needs to go, etc. To that having that moment of ritual and self-care is so key in this world. I definitely agree.
Absolutely. It doesn't take much either. You don't have to spend your entire day collecting yourself. You can just have one key thing that anchors you into this moment, and whether that's your superfood or your greens or your herbs or your yoga or whatever nourishes you. It just can be simple.
All right. So if someone were to walk into Wild and Raw right now, what would you recommend? What's kind of like the most inspiring thing for you on the menu?
Well, right now we are featuring our YYC hot chocolate. So we're doing kind of similar to you guys, but we're doing the lavender infused white hot chocolate. So it's all raw vegan, made with cacao butter and natural ingredients. So that's definitely a feature at the moment. But I kind of just, yeah, I encourage my staff and myself when I'm behind the bar to kind of just intuitively read into people and see how they're feeling, if they've been here before, what their plans are for the rest of the day, and if they're going to a spin class next door or coming from, like, definitely something with protein. We've got some great smoothies, but yeah, if people are going out dancing, like maybe a cacao elixir, lots of different stuff. So kind of just, again, meeting people where they're at.
Right. Again, that,
Yeah.
that intuitiveness, and I love how you're speaking to just really, like the functionality, right? So using and choosing foods and herbs that are going to support, whatever activity you're engaging in. Holy basil, for instance, is going to have a very different kind of, purpose and effect than cacao. And yeah.
Cordyceps or something, yeah.
So developing, and it takes a while, right, to develop that wisdom to know, okay, what are these different herbs? And, the advice I often give is, start one herb at a time, begin to kind of know its energetics just experientially, do a little bit of reading. And it's great that you and your staff there help guide people, because there's a lot of people coming in, I'm sure, that are brand new, who super open to this world, want to dive right in, and for you guys there to be is that little bit of guidance.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it can be subtle too, if you want people to feel something on a subtle level, it doesn't always have to be like an extreme experience, an extreme euphoria or something like that. And yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of it's cumulative as well, right? So some of these herbs, they work, like boom, like right then and there, you feel it either in kind of an energy lift or just like a calming relaxation. But there's also that accumulative effect, right? So the more, a lot of these herbs and foods that you're using might be called or considered tonic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I always like the kind of relate to that to, like, tonifying. It's like you go to the gym every day and, you tonify your muscles, and consuming these herbs every day, like, kind of tonifies the mind, the body, the spirit. And it's cumulative over time, consuming them.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then that just supports the gradual and continual lifestyle shift and support. It's
Yeah.
great.
Cool. Well, right on. Well, thanks the work that you're doing.
Yeah.
How can people connect with you?
Yeah, for sure. Well, for me, I'm kind of elusive at the shop as I'm running around doing mom life and business life, but I can be found online. We've got our Instagram, Wild&Raw. I also have my Instagram, Jenn with two N's .moonflower, which I post a lot of inspirational, I guess, and do-it-yourself kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, or pop into the shop and come try it out.
Okay, right on. Well, thanks for being on. It was good to chat. Thanks for sharing, and we'll see you at Wild and Raw or the Light Cellar.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much, Malcolm. It was great.
Okay.